It started on a night that should have been completely ordinary. The streets were quiet. The streetlights flickered, spilling their dim glow over the cracked sidewalk. I was walking home from a late shift at work, my backpack heavy on my shoulders. There was nothing unusual about that night until the wind changed. At first, it was just a normal breeze, cold, sharp. The kind of wind that made the trees sway and sent dry leaves skating across the pavement. But then, it carried something else. A sound. Not the usual whistles or rustling. Not the kind of noise you mistake for an animal or a passing car. This was different. It was soft. It was almost as if the air itself had leaned close to my ear. And then I heard it. My name whispered. Daniel, I froze in place. My pulse hammered in my chest. The sound had been so faint, I thought maybe I was imagining it. But no, it came again. Daniel. The wind twisted through the trees, bending branches as though they were leaning toward me, reaching. Every part of me screamed to run, but my legs wouldn't move. I turned around slowly, scanning the empty street. Nobody was there. It's just the empty sidewalk stretching into shadows. The parked cars standing silent, and the wind still curling against my skin like invisible fingers. For a moment, I convinced myself I was tired, that it was just in my head. That was easier than believing the impossible. So I forced my feet to keep moving, but as I walked, the wind followed. It wasn't random anymore. It rose and fell in rhythm. It's almost like breathing. Almost like someone walking right behind me. Then as I reached the corner of my block, it whispered again. Clear this time, don't go home. I stopped. The words chilled me to my bones. Oh. It wasn't just my name anymore. It was a warning. But from who? Or worse, from what? I stood under the flickering streetlight, heart racing, torn between running to safety and listening to the impossible warning whispered by the night air. That was the night everything began. The night the wind learned my name. And I realized it didn't just whisper, it wanted something. I tried to sleep that night, but sleep never came. Every time I closed my eyes, I swore I could feel it. The breeze. Cold against my skin, even though the window was shut tight. And underneath a tan echo, my name, stretched and broken by the air. Daniel. I jolted awake, my body drenched in sweat. The clock beside me glowed 3:12 a.m., the exact hour people say strange things happen. I wanted to believe it was just my mind, stress, fatigue. But the next evening when I walked home again, it happened. The wind picked up the moment I turned onto the street near my building. A sharp chill cut across my neck. And then the whisper came. Don't go back, Daniel. This time it wasn't faint, wasn't a trick of the air, it was real. I heard it as clearly as someone standing inches behind me. I spun around. The street was empty, silent. But the wind, didn't stop. It circled me, pushing against me, almost guiding me, away from my own apartment. My legs shook as I forced myself forward. Every instinct screamed at me to listen, to not go home. But I didn't know where else to go, so I pushed through, step by step, until I reached my door. And that's when I noticed something. The doormat was moved. Not by much, but enough for me to know someone had been there. A chill ran through my spine. I unlocked the door slowly, heart hammering. The apartment was dark, silent, but heavy. Like someone else's presence lingered inside. I stood frozen in the doorway. The wind outside howled louder, slamming against the windows. Don't go in. It came again right in my ear. I staggered back, my knees weak. For a split second, I wanted to believe I was insane, because the alternative was much worse. The alternative meant something was using the wind to speak to me, It didn't want me in my own home. But then behind me, inside the apartment, I heard it. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, moving across the wooden floor. One was inside. I held my breath. The footsteps inside my apartment grew clearer. One step, pause, another, slow, heavy. Not the kind of sound a neighbor could make through thin walls. No, this was inside. I gripped the doorknob with trembling hands. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but instead I whispered into the darkness. Lo, no answer, just the faint groan of the floorboards, and silence. The kind of silence that presses down on you, making every second stretch like ours. I swallowed hard. Who's there? My own voice shook. Nothing. The air inside the apartment was still, too still. And yet outside the wind howled like it was trying to drown out something. Something I wasn't supposed to hear. I took one careful step inside. The door creaked. My shadow stretched long across the floor, distorted by the dim streetlight behind me. My living room looked normal. Everything in its place. The couch, the coffee table, the shelf with old photographs. Nothing out of order, but the air. It was wrong. Like the room was holding its breath. Then another sound, not footsteps this time. Whispering low, broken, not from the wind outside. This came from inside my apartment. Daniel. My blood froze. He's still here. My knees nearly buckled. I turned toward the hallway leading to my bedroom. The sound came from there. I could see the door, slightly ajar, darkness spilling out like ink. My pulse pounded in my ears. Every nerve in my body screamed at me not to open it, not to go any closer. But I did. One slow step at a time. The floor beneath me creaked louder with every movement. The wind outside battered against the windows like it was trying to break in. Daniel. Stop. The whisper came again, desperate this time. My hand reached the doorknob, cold metal pressed against my palm. I hesitated. Then a loud crash erupted inside the room, like something heavy falling. I stumbled back, my chest tight with terror. The door creaked open wider, inch by inch. And in the darkness, I saw it. Not clearly. Just a shape, tall. Wrong. Its outline bent at strange angles, like it wasn't built to stand in this world. And as it moved, the wind whispered louder than ever. Don't let him out. The shape in my bedroom didn't move like a person. Its body bent unnaturally, twitching as though its bones weren't aligned properly. It stood in the shadows, half hidden, but its presence was suffocating. My throat went dry. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. The whisper outside surged again, clearer this time. Daniel, leave. The wind rattled the windows so hard, I thought the glass might shatter. But my feet were frozen. That shape. It tilted its head, slowly, too slowly, like it had heard the wind too. And then it laughed. A low, broken sound that scraped against my ears. Human. Not even close. The thing stepped forward, one leg bending the wrong way as it dragged itself toward me. My chest tightened. I stumbled back, nearly tripping over my own feet. The hallway lights flickered. For the briefest second, I saw its face, if you could call it a face. Hollow sockets where eyes should have been. A mouth that stretched wider than any human should. And skin pale, torn, moving as though the wind itself was trapped beneath it. You heard it too. It rasped. My heart nearly stopped. It spoke. Not like the wind, no. This was its own voice. Deep, jagged, hungry. The air knows my name, but now it knows yours too. The floor shook as it took another step closer. The whispers outside grew frantic. Run, run, run. But I couldn't. My legs refused to obey. The creature leaned forward, its face inches from mine. Its breath was icy, carrying the stench of decay. "Daniel," it hissed. "Do you know why the wind warns you?" I shook my head, trembling. Its grin widened, tearing at the corners of its mouth, 'cause it remembers. The lights cut out. Total darkness swallowed the room. And in that suffocating black, the wind didn't just whisper. It screamed, "Get out." Something shoved me. Hard. I stumbled backward through the hallway, slammed into the front door, and crashed outside into the night air. The door slammed shut behind me with a deafening crack. Gasped, shaking, my lungs burning. The wind howled around me, circling me like a shield, and for the first time, I realized it wasn't just trying to warn me, it was fighting for me, against whatever that thing inside my apartment was. I stood outside, chest heaving, the night colder than ever. The street was empty, silent, except for the wind. It circled me, rushing in frantic gusts like it was. "Alive, safe, safe," it whispered. My hands shook. "What the hell was that?" it whispered back, my voice breaking. The air swirled harder, carrying fragments of words. "Not human, not living," it follows. I staggered back against the brick wall, my mind spinning. The creature inside my apartment wasn't just an intruder. It wasn't even alive. It was something else. Something the wind knew. I pressed my palms against my ears, trying to drown out the whispers. But they slid through anyway, curling into my thoughts like smoke. "We remember. We always remember." "What do you mean?" I asked, tears stinging my eyes. The wind hissed, rattling the street signs. Long ago it walked. It killed. It left its mark. Images flickered through my head. A hallway I didn't recognize. Doors broken off their hinges, blood smeared across walls. And that same twisted shape, dragging its crooked body through the dark. It lived here before you. The wind breathed. "Your home is not yours." My stomach dropped. Was the doormat out of place? The heavy air inside, the constant warnings. It all made sense now. That thing wasn't haunting my apartment. It belonged there. I was the intruder. A shiver ripped down my spine. "Why me?" I whispered. "Why are you warning me?" The air stilled for a moment, eerily calm. Then, in a single gust, the answer came. "Because you can hear us. And it hates that." My blood ran cold. All those nights I thought I was imagining the whispers. I wasn't. I could hear what most people couldn't, and that thing inside hated me for it. "It will not stop," the wind murmured, "till you are gone, or it is." My throat tightened. "One of us has to die?" The silence that followed was worse than any whisper. The air grew still, heavy, and the gusts returned, sharper than before. "Choose, before it does." Suddenly, the lights in my apartment window flickered. On, off, on again. A shadow passed across the glass. It knew I hadn't left, and it was waiting. I don't know how long I stood on that street. Minutes, hours maybe. The cold dug into my bones, but I couldn't move. Every time I looked at the dark window of my apartment, my chest tightened. It was still in there, waiting. The whispers circled around me like restless ghosts. "Don't go back. It watches. It waits." But I knew I couldn't stay outside forever. Someone would notice me. And if that thing realized I wasn't coming back, would it come out looking for me instead? The thought terrified me more than anything, so I swallowed hard, forcing my shaking legs to move. Step by step, I approached the door again. The wind whipped against my face, violent now, as though trying to hold me back. "Daniel, please." But I pressed my key into the lock, turned it. Ow. The door creaked open. Darkness pooled inside, heavy and suffocating. My hand trembled as I reached for the light switch. Click. Nothing. The bulbs had burned out. Or worse. The hallway yawned before me, like the mouth of something alive. I gripped the strap of my backpack, using it as some kind of shield, and stepped inside. The air was stale, rotting, and underneath it all was a sound, not footsteps this time, breathing slow, wet, coming from the end of the hall. "Daniel, hey." The whisper wasn't the wind now, it was his. The thing was awake. The windows rattled as the night air pushed harder, screaming around the apartment walls. "Leave, leave." But I kept walking. Every step felt like it might be my last. The breathing grew louder, closer, and then I saw it. The figure crawled out from my bedroom. Its limbs scraped across the floor, bending the wrong way, nails carving deep grooves into the wood. Its head twisted unnaturally as it dragged itself into the hallway. "He came back," it rasped. The wind slammed against the apartment, bursting through the cracks around the windows like invisible fists. "Daniel, run," the creature hissed, jerking its body toward me. But before it could move closer, the gusts roared inside. The curtains flared, the doors rattled, and for the first time, the wind wasn't just whispering, it was fighting. The air whipped so violently that the creature reeled back, its crooked limbs flailing as if something unseen was clawing at it. It screamed a hollow, broken sound that pierced through my skull. I stumbled back, shielding my face from the violent gusts, and through the chaos I realized something. The whispers weren't just trying to warn me anymore. They were trying to protect me. They were willing to fight to keep me alive. The gusts tore through my apartment like a storm. The creature shrieked, twisting violently as if something unseen was tearing at its flesh. Its body slammed against the walls, knocking down picture frames and rattling shelves. I covered my ears, but the whispers cut straight through. "Daniel, hold on. We remember." The air surged, pushing me backward into the living room. The thing clawed at the ground, dragging itself toward me through the invisible torrent. Its mouth stretched unnaturally wide, spitting out words between broken laughter. "You think they can save you? They couldn't save themselves?" The whispers around me grew frantic. "Don't listen. Don't listen." I stumbled against the couch, gripping the edge to steady myself. "What do you mean?" I shouted, my voice trembling. The thing twisted its head, its hollow sockets locking on me. "This wind, these voices, you know what they are?" The air roared in fury, rattling every window pane. "Silence," the whispers screamed. But the creature only laughed, its body convulsing as it crawled closer. "They are not protectors. They are prisoners." My heart pounded in my chest. "What?" The wind wrapped around me like a shield, but I could still hear it. "Every soul I've taken, every breath they screamed with, stays in the air. It's trapped forever." The creature's grin stretched wider, tearing its face at the edges. "And now they whisper, they beg, they warn, but they can never leave." The gusts surged, slamming the creature back against the wall. "Less. L-I-E-S." The voices cried, but deep down, I knew it wasn't lying. The realization hit me like ice. The whispers weren't just the wind. They were voices. The voices of the dead. People this thing had killed. Their last breaths carried on forever, warning anyone who could hear. "Daniel, believe us, please," the air begged. Tears stung my eyes as I stared at the writhing shadow against my wall. If what it said was true, then every whisper I'd heard, every warning, every desperate plea was from someone who had died exactly where I was standing. And now, I was next. The wind howled louder, rattling the entire building. You must choose, run or fight. But my legs refused to move. The thing stood again, taller now, its limbs cracking into place like broken branches snapping back. Its grin never faltered. They can't protect you forever, but I can take you now. The air surged around me one last time. Daniel, listen, there is one way, but it will cost you. The voices swirled around me, desperate, colliding with one another like a storm of broken prayers. Daniel, listen, we can help end it now. The creature stepped forward, its limbs cracking with every movement. It towered in the darkness, its grin splitting wider, as though it already knew the ending. They tell you lies. They want you to join them. They want you trapped forever. The wind slammed into it again, forcing it back a step. No, we want you free. We want it gone. I gripped the edge of the couch, my heart hammering so loud I could barely hear my own thoughts. Tell me what to do, I screamed into the chaos. The voices surged, sharper than ever. Bind it, take it back, lock it where it belongs. How? I shouted, tears stinging my eyes. You must breathe us in. All of us. Every whisper, every last memory. My stomach dropped. What does that mean? The air wrapped around me, pressing against my face, rushing into my lungs. Take us inside. Carry us, we will burn it, but you will never be free of us. The realization cut through me like ice. If I did this, I would survive. But the whispers would never stop. Every victim, every scream, every warning, all of it trapped inside me. The creature's voice cut through the storm, or, you can let me take you. One breath, one scream, and it will end. No whispers, no torment, just silence. It tilted its head, its hollow sockets fixed on mine. Choose. Daniel. The wind howled, the walls groaning under its weight. W. Before it's too late. I stared at the thing, its crooked limbs jerking closer with each step. I stared at the shadows flickering across my apartment, twisting with every gust. And for the first time I realized both options were hell, but only one would keep me alive. I inhaled, deep. The air rushed into my lungs, violent, crushing, endless. Thousands of voices screamed into me all at once, clawing at my mind. My chest burning with fire. The creature shrieked, stumbling back, its grin faltering for the first time. No, no. The whispers filled me completely, pressing against my skull until I thought it would shatter. And then, everything exploded in white light. The light seared through me, blinding, burning. Every whisper I had inhaled screamed inside my chest, clawing to be heard, to be freed. The creature staggered back, its crooked body writhing like it was being torn apart. Its grin was gone now, replaced with a hollow, furious snarl. No, you don't belong to them. You belong to me. The voices roared in my head, their words overlapping, furious and desperate. Hold, Daniel, hold. We are here. My body convulsed as I stumbled forward, the air around me glowing with flickers of shapes' faces. Dozens of them, men, women, children, every victim it had ever taken. Their final breaths burned in my lungs, and now they poured out of me like fire. The creature shrieked, staggering as the faces swirled around it, biting, clawing, tearing with invisible force. "No, you are mine," it screamed. Its limbs cracked backward as it tried to crawl up the walls, its long nails splitting the plaster. The windows shook violently, glass cracking as the storm outside screamed through my apartment. "Push it back." The whispers howled inside me. Push it where it came from. I fell to my knees, clutching my chest, as the voices erupted from my mouth in a single scream. It wasn't my voice anymore. It was all of them. Every whisper, every memory, every soul it had taken. The sound was deafening, a chorus of the dead pouring through me like a weapon. The creature howled, its body breaking apart, cracks spreading across its twisted frame. Black smoke poured out of it, writhing like snakes in the storm. "No, you can't. You can't end me. I am forever." The voices surged louder, drowning its screams. "Not anymore," they whispered. The walls rattled as the storm reached its peak. Curtains ripped, glass shattered, and then the thing split apart. Its hollow face twisted in a final, silent scream as it was torn to shreds, ripped into the swirling vortex of air. In a flash, it was gone. The storm stopped instantly, the air stilled.
Ow.
Silence pressed down heavy, crushing, suffocating. I collapsed onto the floor, gasping for breath. My chest burned, my ears rang. But the creature was gone. It was over, or at least I thought it was. Because then I heard it. Not outside, not through the walls. Inside me. Daniel. Thousands of voices, crying, begging, screaming, whispering my name. And I realized the truth. I had destroyed the monster, but I had taken its place. It has been 3 weeks since that night. The neighbors say the storm was just a freak wind, nothing unusual. The police blame the noise on a gas line, or maybe a break-in that never happened. No one really believes me. Not that I could explain it anyway. How could I tell them that I swallowed screams? That I breathe voices every night? That I can't close my eyes without hearing them? The whispers never stop. They murmur when I eat. They sing when I shower. They cry when I try to sleep. Every soul it had taken lives inside me now, and they never let me forget it. Sometimes I wake up and see shapes in the corners of my room. Flickers of faces, mouths moving silently. Other times the whispers grow so loud that I can't even hear my own thoughts. And the worst part? They've started using my voice. When I walk past a mirror, sometimes my reflection's lips move a second later, whispering things I didn't say. I know people think I'm losing my mind. Maybe I am, but the truth is worse. Because the voices, they aren't just trapped. They're growing stronger. Every night I feel them pressing harder against me, desperate to escape, and I don't know how long I can hold them. Sometimes, when the wind blows against my window, I hear the old creature's laugh hidden inside the whispers, like it never really left, like it's waiting. And now I wonder, if the wind doesn't just whisper to me, maybe one day it will whisper through me, and when it does, someone else will hear their name.